Hey, this is Nick from the Mustang shop. Today we're going to be installing the Mustang shop adjustable lower control arms, as seen here. Here is the stock lower control arm. As you can see, it is non-adjustable. What this adjustability allows you to do is move the bottom of the tire in or out. And here are the tools that you're going to need in order to do the job. You're going to need a hammer, a pry bar, a pair of side cutters, a couple wrenches, a 9/16, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, and a couple sockets. 9/16, 11/16, 3/4, and a swivel. And in removing the lower control arm, you want to take your side cutters and pry out the original cotter pin and discard that. And then taking your 7/8 wrench, go ahead and back off the nut.
Because we downloaded the T56 file. It's like 48 long on the
I like to go ahead and leave the nut on there just a little bit, and then you're going to take your hammer and hit the spindle to separate from the lower control arm, like so. Point in time, you're going to want to remove the strut rod from the lower control arm by taking a 5/8 wrench, and I like to use an electric impact with your 11/16 socket on there. Go ahead and take the nuts off. Okay. And next, we're going to go ahead and remove the sway bar end link with the 9/16 socket and wrench. And if you're not replacing these, you're going to want to save these to install them later. And at this point in time, we should be able to pull the lower control arm away from the spindle and the strut. Okay, go ahead and just move the strut rod out of the way. We're going to go ahead and get back here and remove the bolt that holds the lower control arm to the body. And this is where the pry bar comes in handy. Go ahead and pry the bolt out. Sometimes it's a little tricky. And then there you have the old lower control arm, where a lot of times this bushing goes bad, and that's about the main reason why you have to replace your lower control arm. Now what I like to do is come over to the new strut rod and line up, and as you can see right now we're quite a bit shorter. I'll go ahead and back this out to where it matches for easier installation. At this point in time we can go ahead and lock down this nut. Take your side cutters again, go ahead and cut the safety wire that holds the bushings in.
That's our racing budget. We get the motor that's going to live, right? And we got a train that lives.
And another thing I like to do is take your pry bar
All right, you guys.
here and go ahead and slide this slide this apart real quick for easier installation. You're going to go ahead and take your stock bolt that you removed earlier if you're not going to replace it with a new one. And go ahead and slide that in. And go ahead and take the stock nut and put it with the bolt. And at this point in time, you can go ahead and tighten down using your 3/4 wrench to hold the nut. And your socket. Now you can go ahead, take the new castle nut off at this point in time. Go ahead and grab your strut rod, move it out of the way, and loosely connect it to the spindle until the threads are protruding. That way, you can go ahead and connect the strut rod to the lower controller. Now at this point in time, you can take the stock nuts and connect them to the strut rod bolts that connect it to the lower control arm. And using my air impact, take your 11/16 socket and your 5/8 wrench and tighten down at this point in time. Until tight. And here's the sway bar end link that I mentioned that you want to save if you are not replacing your sway bar end links. These look like in pretty good condition. They're still pliable and not torn, so we're going to go ahead and reuse those. Red light's blinking. At this point in time, we're going to go ahead and tighten down the new castle nut with the new lower control arm until tight. Alright, now you're going to want to tighten down the castle nut to the spindle as tight as you possibly can until the hole lines up for the new cotter pin. Go ahead and insert that. Sometimes I need a little extra persuasion. So we'll tighten that as tight as you possibly can. And you're going to want to go ahead and take your side cutters and bend the cotter pin to ensure that the castle nut is locked down in place and it has no chance of backing off. I like to go ahead and cut the excess off. Now you can go ahead and grease the lower control arm. About 7 to 10 pumps is adequate. You kind of want to fill until the ball joint expands a little bit. And now you're able to take it to your local alignment shop to have the alignment done.